Mason, I guess, I know the Chiefs had a lot of, role in this offense, and you guys have been sparingly used at times in the passing game, but I guess what's it been like just trying to keep doing your job and have success on offense?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the beginning of the season, the tight ends got used a good amount. There was a lot of tight end touchdowns. And right now we're just worried about doing our job, and then us getting the ball and scoring touchdowns will come eventually. But right now we're just going to do everything we can to help the team win.
How much has J.C. Miller been involved on the tight end side now that he's kind of doing both sides of the ball?
Oh yeah, he's very much still involved. He's not really used too much on the defensive side of the ball, but offense is still his first position, so he's very much still used in offense.
I guess how has he grown over the whole season? I guess because it felt like he was more of a receiving threat, and it seems like he's really come along as what you guys do in the run scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's grown tremendously since he's been here too. I think just getting those first couple games under his belt, kind of knowing what to expect from our opponents, like in the Big 12 that we're going to be playing. He's grown a bunch, and I think he's really fallen in love with getting his head or getting his hands dirty in the run game.
Caleb mentioned the experience last time you guys went to Fort Worth on the airplane and everything. What do you remember about that trip?
I remember sitting on the tarmac for 8 hours, and every time they were like, "Oh, we're about to leave," we ended up never leaving. So, it was really fun sitting on the tarmac for 8 hours and getting to Fort Worth midnight, 1 o'clock, I think. But we can't really let that affect us.
How stiff were you coming out that plane when you were sitting there like that?
Luckily, I'm kind of a bigger guy and have a little bit of seniority, so I got to sit in the first class. So I had some room, and then we were able to get off the plane and kind of go stretch and walk around outside the plane.
Are we going to be flying again this year?
What's that?
Are y'all going to be flying again this year?
Yep, we will.
You recall who was sitting in first class up there with you?
It's typically the starting O lineman, the starting interior D lineman. So I think last year it was Jay Boog and Tony Bradford, and then Barron was sitting up there, whoever the quarterback was at that time, which was Barron, and then me and maybe Baylor Cup.
You've been here for a good chunk of the TCU games. What does this rivalry mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun playing TCU. They're a good football team, hard-nosed team, and I feel like they're one of the teams is still in the Big 12, and keeping that rivalry going is pretty special.
Do you still talk to Baylor Cup occasionally?
Yeah, I do. I try to keep up with him. I texted with him whenever I found out he made the practice squad, and he's really enjoying it and loving Kansas City.
First 6 games of the season was all teams you guys don't see very often. Now you're in this stretch of kind of consistent Big 12 teams. How does that kind of change, or does it change anything like mindset going in, game planning, because you're so familiar with these programs?
It doesn't really change much. TCU, they got a new defensive coordinator, so it's nothing like we've seen the last year we played them. And so, the teams are constantly evolving, right? So, there's a few teams that you can take stuff that we did the year before into the game, but, they're constantly evolving and constantly getting better.
Anything else for Mason?
Yeah, well, did you feel like y'all blocked it up, so to speak, for Taj on Saturday? The tight ends specifically.
Yeah, I thought the tight ends had a pretty good game. Definitely some details that we need to clean up, but I definitely thought tight ends did their part and did everything they could to help Taj get those 100 yards.
Is there any extra pride that you're going to take when Taj does reach those milestones?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're kind of a big part of that, and just seeing someone being successful after doing all the work that we do, it's pretty special.